fans of The Handmaid's Tale are getting ready to experience a great deal of emotional distress as the production of the series' last episode draws closer. In the 8th episode, June and Maura were able to give a serious kind of justice, which consisted of a wedding cake that was loaded with vengeance. However, it appears that the forthcoming episode will have consequences for those actions, and there may be a number of casualties on the side of the resistance. As for what you can anticipate from the 9th episode, well, fans are putting together all of the clues that are given to them in an effort to attempt and guess what will happen to their favorite characters, as well as the characters that they dislike the most. It is yet unknown what will happen to Commander Wharton, and the future of certain members of the Resistance appears to be uncertain as well. But considering that the narrative follows the no body, no death cliché, it is possible that Wharton is still alive and has been rekindled to exact his revenge. Many viewers are concerned that Luke, Lawrence, and possibly even June would not make it through the upcoming episode. This is because there is a possibility that they will all die. This idea originates from the fact that spectators believe that Nick might be promoted to the position of High Commander, which might ultimately cause him to put his love and his morality to the side and send June to the wall. Nevertheless, this has been one of the most contentious ideas due to the conjecture that has surrounded June's possible position in the series sequel, The Testaments. Despite the fact that the twist would make for entertaining television and solidified June's image as a martyr to the cause, it has been one of the most contested theories. When it comes to Aunt Lydia, we have witnessed some of her vicious behavior taking a more compassionate turn. It should come as no surprise that she frequently finds herself divided between her loyalty to Gilead and the desire to confront the harsh realities of its harshness. Previously, she has shielded Janine and protected Esther, but now it appears that she is getting closer and closer to completely rebelling against the authority. As we move on to the 8th episode, we see a guard quietly surveillance Lydia. It is hoped that the 9th episode would provide light on the question of whether or not this circumstance was caused by Commander Lawrence observing her, or whether or if the guard was Aunt Vidala's eyes and ears. Despite the fact that everything is up in the air, many are certain that Lydia's wavering will be uncovered in the near future, and this episode may be her coming to terms with it. The 9th episode of the 6th season of The Handmaid's Tale is scheduled to be released on Hulu the following week, and the stakes are considerably higher than they were previously. Due to the fact that we are currently at a stage in the narrative where there are riddles all over the place, it is important to note that. Take, for example, the seemingly insignificant fact that June and a large number of other handmaids are currently on the run. We are left in a position where anyone could pass away at any time, given that sooner rather than later, because of the fact that we are in this situation. When it comes to Serena, you simply cannot help but worry what is going to take place in the future. She has already come to the conclusion that Wharton is not even close to being the person he once proclaimed himself to be. Does this imply that she will end her relationship with him for good? It is possible that things could become more convoluted, but let's simply state that. In spite of the fact that Serena is enraged by the fact that Wharton has a handmaid, she is also someone who is yearning to gain authority. Here are some of the things that Yvon Strahovsky had to say about the matter in an interview with Variety. At that very time, you would utter anything in your rage. The question of whether or not you would continue to do so is another issue. For as long as she can remember, Serena has been the kind of person who will always select the most advantageous path for her own life and security. This is how the majority of the characters in Gilead behave. In contrast to June, who acts for the benefit of society as a whole, this is self-serving. The decisions that Serena takes are self-serving. In the end, she always acts in a manner that is self-serving, which is one of the reasons why she is such a complicated character. She has a hard time distinguishing between actions that are for the greater good and those that are focused on her own interests. The reason that we have a tendency to believe that it is impossible to ever have complete faith in this character to accomplish anything that is even somewhat near to atonement is because of the last statement. However, she has never demonstrated any serious signs of wanting to improve herself. In only 1 week, the 9th episode of The Handmaid's Tale Season 6 will be available on Hulu. Are you prepared for what is going to happen in the following episodes? The first and most important thing that we need to take into consideration is that Execution is the final episode before the dramatic series finale. This is going to be a very dramatic event, and it might even be painful, thus the title, and it is going to be quite intense. In preparation for the chance that someone might pass away, we have already begun to brace ourselves. The following is a complete description of the 9th episode of the 6th season of The Handmaid's Tale, which you can read if you are interested in learning more about what is expected to happen in the future. While Gilead is unleashing its entire strength against the resistance, June is confronted with the most difficult test she has ever faced. While the authorities tighten their grip with merciless efficiency, she walks a delicate line between surviving and rebelling against them. What causes us concern is the possibility that Gilead is about to unleash its full power in this situation, particularly considering the fact that they have practically every motivation in the world to attempt to exact retribution. Around the time of Serena Joy and Wharton's wedding, June and Maura were instrumental in organizing one of the most violent uprisings that had ever taken place. This uprising resulted in the deaths of Commander Bell and most likely a great number of other people. Although it appears that the handmaids are currently out in the wind, it is unclear whether this will continue to be the case indefinitely. That is something that has not yet been determined. It is common for us to believe that America or Luke may be of assistance to them, but to what end? We do believe that the goings-on in Episode 8 offered us a little bit of happiness. Meanwhile, the actors and crew have been discussing a conclusion that will be gratifying. Pain, on the other hand, is something that might come after that. Although this is not something that we desire, it is something that we are surely looking forward to at this point in time. One of the things that audiences all around the world who watch The Handmaid's Tale can generally agree on is that Janine, Madeline Brewer, is in urgent and desperate need of a break. This is one of the many things that audiences hope the final series of the drama will offer. In light of the fact that the 6th and last season of the popular show is now accessible to watch on a weekly basis on Channel 4 and Prime Video in the United Kingdom, viewers are left wondering what happened to Emily and whether or not Janine would pass away. When considering the fact that Janine's character does not perish in Margaret Atwood's work from 1985 and that she is not mentioned in the sequel The Testaments, which was released in 2019, it is impossible to determine what will happen to her. However, there are a few signs that suggest what might happen to her in the future.